Welcome back to another episode of Decision Reactions. I am Ben Catania. I'm the founder of the Decision Making Studio. It has been a while since I've done one of these. I've been very busy co-writing a book, but we are back. And the premise of these videos is fairly simple. I watch an example of decision making and give it a score out of 5 based on our focus decision making framework. So once again, a great decision is not about the outcome, it's about how that decision is made. And we have 5 things that we emphasize in our framework: framing, options, cognitive biases, uncertainty, and selection. So I'll watch a video and give a rating out of 5. So let's tee this one up. This one comes from a 1980s film. It's called Gung Ho, and it stars Michael Keaton, who is the union rep and executive for a Japanese car company in the United States. And the premise is that this car company moves in after an American firm abandoned this small town, a factory town, and the decision to go in wasn't made particularly well, and therefore things aren't going particularly well. And that leads us to this scene. The entire film actually is littered with bad decisions, and because of that, there's all kinds of drama. And this is a scene in which, because things aren't going well, Keaton makes a deal with the Japanese executives of the car company to beat the factory record of a Japanese firm per month in terms of cars produced, 15,000 cars. So let's give that a watch. All right, we are going to have our first little scene. It takes place on the banks or in a river in the town in Pennsylvania where the factory is, and we see Hunt, which is Keaton's character, negotiating with the Japanese executives of the factory.
You know what we need down at the factory? An incentive program.
We don't need an incentive program. What we need is faster workers.
What we really need is a fish to come along and bite your pecker off. Bottom line, what's the most amount of cars you guys ever turned out in 1 month back?
All right, so here's the setup. And you can kind of see, of course, the tension that has occurred in the past. And this leads us into this little negotiation.
in Japan?
15,000.
All right, my men are going to make 15,000 cars next month.
All right, so right off the bat, we know this is all wrong from a decision-making perspective. Hunt, Keaton's character, just learns what the target is and then just agrees, oh, we're going to make 15,000 cars. So from an uncertainty perspective, gets 0 points on the 5-point focus scale. Really not very good decision-making going on here.
But when they do, you got to bring their salaries back up to their old level, and you got to guarantee them full employment. You got a deal?
And look, an incentive program and getting his workers back up to full employment and getting up to their old salaries and so forth. All of those things could be a very good idea if explored properly. But we also see here that this is a decision that's made in haste. And as a result, it also fails the human factors cognitive bias test or aspect of the focus framework. Let's see what the other side does.
I'm not sure if...
Come on, what do you got to lose? The pressure's all on us.
All right. We strike a deal. 15,000 cars. Not any less. One less than 15,000, no raise, nothing.
Oh, yeah. And it's on. So we have the rest of the film. Let's have a look at what happens next. All right, so he now has to take this deal back to his union and talk to his members about it. So let's just see what happens here.
Who's better than us?
Nice job of riling them up.
You bet your red, white, and blue ass.
You bet your red, white, and blue ass.
You know, when they told me No Americans could ever match the amount of cars made by the Japanese in 1 month. It took about a dozen guys to hold my ass down. I said, not only will we make more cars than the Japanese, but at the end of this month, when we break your record, I expect full employment at this factory. I'm talking about 200 more of our union brothers and sisters back to work, Jim. And like I told you months ago, at $11.50 an hour.
Here comes.
How many? How many? 15,000 cars in 1 month. That's 15,000 in a month.
Hey, Hart, did you say 15,000? Are you joking or what?
I'm not kidding. Come on, we can do that. Can't we?
So just reinforces the big 0 stars on the whole uncertainty piece of this thing.
What are you telling me? You say the Japanese are better than us?
Yeah, man, but 15,000, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, what if we work our butts off and come in just under 15,000? Right? We get nothing, right, for all that work?
Yeah, what kind of deal is that? Hey, excuse me, fellas. But the man's not an idiot. He wouldn't let that happen.
Hey, I'm not an idiot. Of course not.
I mean, even if we just come close, we get something, right?
All right.
What do we get, like half a raise for 12, 13,000?
Yeah, 13,000. Yeah.
Ooh.
Right.
Why didn't you tell us that from the beginning?
I just
So it's just
thought of
he's just
So I
doubled
just thought-
down. He's just doubled
So I
down
just thought,
on this bad
You
decision.
know what I thought? I thought it'd be better to concentrate on the full 15, and that way get the whole raise. Let's just think about that. Let's not even think about 13,000. Let's not even talk about it. Let's pretend I made it up. Let's pretend I just made this crazy thing up about 13,000 cars. See? That way, we just go for the full 15, and I'm telling you, I say we can do it. Let's do it and do it our way. Can't we do it? Oh, come on, man. Can we do it? Can we do it?
All right, again, great with the cheerleading. A bad example of framing because it's not really in alignment with what the group actually wanted. We learned that the workers would be fine with less of a raise for 13,000 cars produced. So fails on the framing, fails on options as well, because again, that would have been an option. He's really got himself into an either or situation here, which is something that we typically want to avoid in decision making. So fails on framing, options, cognitive biases, and uncertainty. This all comes home to roost. Just share a little bit of what happens and we'll wrap it up. All right, so when you accept and select a low quality decision, that's not a recipe for success. It is a recipe for comedy. So let's see what happens.
Who is he?
He's fine. We're going in to see him in a few minutes.
I'm happy.
Well, that's the main thing, as long as you're happy.
He's happy they only have to give us half the raise.
Half the raise.
Half the raise for making 13,000 cars in a month.
That is not so. It was a 15,000 or no raise.
Hello.
We just talked to that guy, Ito. We found out there's no raise for 13,000 cars. I'm calling all the guys, and we're coming over to get you. Shit.
All right, so the decision to produce 15,000 cars in a month gets a big 0 out of 5 under framing, options, cognitive biases, uncertainty, and selection. Of course, and spoiler alert, it does work out in the end because it's a Hollywood movie. It's actually an interesting movie, very interesting movie from lots of perspectives, and a historical perspective as well as a decision-making one, because of loads of bad decisions in this movie. And of course, and remember, good decisions don't make for good cinema. And we shouldn't be judging a decision based on its outcome. So if you want to learn more about quality decision making, do get in touch. Grab a copy of our primer on our focused decision making principles. There's a link somewhere accompanying this video. You can also go to thedecisionmaking.studio to find that. Just get in touch and you can get yourself a copy of those principles, and just get in touch if you want to learn more about quality decision making. Stay tuned. There will be more decision reaction episodes coming up.